Three news stories, one common theme. First, you have Christopher Rufo exposing fraud in Minnesota. Then the Minnesota AG and Minneapolis mayor sue the Trump admin. And then finally, one of the seditious six, Mark Kelly, is citing a pattern of government weaponization amid the investigations into the Fed. You're watching two systems collide, the enforcement state and the protection state. The enforcement state says laws exist, borders exist, fraud is theft, terror financing is war. But the protection state says that certain constituencies are politically protected, certain bureaucracies are above suspicion, and certain investigations must be stopped before they reach the people who signed the checks. Let's start with Minnesota. Rufo did not publish a scandal. He published a map, money out the door, weak controls, predictable exploitation, and an alleged nexus to Al-Shabaab. When child care funds get frozen, that is not performative austerity. That is the federal government admitting the program was treated like an ATM. If you're a taxpayer, it means you're not funding services. You are funding a system that could allegedly be siphoned into foreign violence. Now let's look at Ellison and Fry suing to limit ICE. If you want a clean example of narrative warfare, this is it. The moment the federal heat rises, the local political class reframes the agents as a threat. They lean on a recent shooting described publicly as controversial. I'll let you make your own opinion. And then they try to convert it into a legal pretext to shrink the investigative footprint. If that lawsuit succeeds, it will not just change Minnesota, it will hand every blue state a template to obstruct federal enforcement while claiming constitutional virtue. Now let's connect that to Senator Mark Kelly's weaponization claim. Democrats spent years cheering institutional power when it was aimed at their enemies. Now that the DOJ is investigating the Federal Reserve, suddenly the scared institutions are fragile and the real danger is oversight. This is not about protecting democracy, it's about protecting control. The Fed is the last cathedral in modern American politics because it sits above elections, above budgets, above consequences, and both parties quietly like it that way. But here's the pattern that we all need to recognize. When investigators move toward politically protected systems, fraud networks, sanctuary governance, central banking, the defense is always the same. Discredit the investigators, limit their jurisdiction, call it unconstitutional, call it persecution, call it weaponization. It's an inoculation campaign designed to make the public doubt the cops before the evidence lands. And it puts you, the citizen, in a bind. If accountability is always framed as extremism, then corruption becomes the default operating system. The end state is a country where your tax dollars are extracted with force, distributed without oversight, and audited only when it's politically convenient.